Hey everybody, good morning. It is, what is it? It's 10:59. It's 11, just turned 11 o'clock. And I see people are coming into the webinar. I got a deep one for you today. Has anybody that's on today been on any of my other webinars? Just either go in the chat or, yeah, go in the chat. Andre, not that, okay, not that you know of. Okay, cool, some new people here. Anybody else? You guys wanna chime in here? I'm just waiting a minute or two, let people get settled in. Alicia, good morning. And yes, you have, great. Who else? Who else? Who else? Monday morning, 11 o'clock. Peter says yes. Who's got their crews out working today? Just put yes in the chat box. Just put yes, I do, or yes, either one works. Peter, Daniel, Alicia. Okay, great. Who else? More, I want to see more. Okay. Oh, the other thing you could do, yeah, you could raise your hand. Thank you, Michael, for reminding me of that. Okay, cool. All right, so today we are going to talk about an important subject. And I call this money math for contractors. And as roofers, you are in a pretty unique situation when it comes to profit, what I call profit model. It's relatively simple and straightforward to set up a profit model. What's tough, though, is actually sticking to it. I mean, really, that's the tough part here. And so what we're going to do today is I'm going to walk you through some of the money math that's involved in your business as a roofing contractor, exterior. I mean, this is going to apply if you're selling roofing, windows, siding, gutters, one-day bath. Even I would even say, well, all of you are roofers, so let's not even go to who else this is going to apply for. So this is really just for you guys. That is me. Some of you may know me from workshops that I've done for CertainTeed. We were supposed to do, well, we did 2 of them this year. We were supposed to do another 2, but obviously because of the situation, those got put on hold. I'm hoping maybe towards the end of the year we'll be able to do these live and in person. But I've been doing live workshops around the country for CertainTeed since 2016. So 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, this would be my 5th year out doing workshops for CertainTeed. Somebody just put in the chat that they work at a lumber yard. So you work with roofers. So that's awesome. So some of you might know me from that. Some of you may know me from the Wealthy Contractor podcast. If you're not listening to the podcast, and look, this is not about me, this is all about you guys. I've got some great content there. Doesn't cost you anything. Go to wherever you get your whatchamacallit, what are those things called? Podcasts. Wherever you get your podcasts from, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you get them from, just go look for The Wealthy Contractor. And then there's also the 7 Secrets book. All of this stuff, by the way, you can go to thewealthycontractor.com and you can get all of that stuff. And so that's the wealthy contractor. And I always try and be clear with you guys about what's what. So I have both the wealthy contractor and G4 marketing. And this is a joint kind of thing between the two companies. And the way that we look at it is the wealthy contractor is our education company. It's where we do things like this. We educate contractors on how to be more profitable, how to make more money. On the other side, we have G4 marketing, which many of our clients are CertainTeed roofers. And with G4 marketing, what we do is we do what we call relationship marketing. We send out thank yous for our customers. We help them get reviews. We help them get referrals. We help them get repeat sales. Okay, reviews, referrals, and repeat sales. We do all the work, basically. And so that's a little bit about me and my background. And I think, the important thing for those of you that don't know who I am, I come from the home improvement business. I started in home improvement 30 years ago and just shifted over to the marketing side about 10 years ago with G4 Marketing Group because that was what I was really, really good at. So anyway, I'll spare you the whole long story, but that's a little bit about me and kind of maybe why you should listen to me. So what I'm going to share with you here today, I generally, so this is, parts of this are from a presentation I did at our live annual event, which happens every year in February. And this is a new presentation that I put together for that event. And normally I don't share this stuff on webinars. You really kind of got to pay to get this information. But Jay asked me to do this. And I think that we've all kind of been given an opportunity here. And there's two ways to spin the whole thing that's going on right now, that's been going on for the last, really, I think 7 weeks. I think we're in week 7 now. Is to look at it as either defeat or to look at it as opportunity. And look, quite frankly, I've looked at days and I've been like, oh crap, really? I mean, can this thing get any uglier? Can this thing get any worse? But most days I see it as opportunity. I see it as a way for all of us to look at our business and ask ourselves some important questions and decide, who are we gonna be on the other side of this, which we're starting to see now. We're starting to see now. Obviously, the conversations that we were having 2 weeks ago and 4 weeks ago are very different than the conversations we're having today. However, they're still relevant. The thing that you don't want to do, I think, is whatever bad habits you had before this slap in the head, actually more like getting hit over the head with a 2x4, whatever bad habits we had as entrepreneurs, as business owners we had before, this is a great opportunity for us to recognize what those bad habits were and take action to remedy them and replace them with good habits. And what I'm going to share with you here before we get actually into, because what I'm going to share with you here is going to lead us into the conversation about money math and how it relates to all of this. What I'm going to share here with you is what I call the Wealthy Contractor Success, Wealth, and Freedom Framework. I know it's a mouthful, our core purpose at both of our companies, G4 Marketing and The Wealthy Contractor, is to help business owners achieve more success, wealth, and freedom. And I think if you think about why you went into business for yourself in the first place, those are probably some of the things that are going to come to mind. We're going to get a little more specific in a minute, but I think those are the big core fundamental pieces that we're all looking for: success, wealth, and freedom. And so I called this framework after that. So let me peel away at what this looks like and how you can help, or how you can use this framework to help build a healthier, stronger, more profitable business coming out of this environment that we're in. I don't like using the name of it. I don't want to give it any energy. So within the framework, everything starts with you right in the middle. And I'm talking to, and I don't know how many of you here are business owners. And this presentation is really designed for business owners and partners and people that are involved, that can really make the decisions within the business. If you are not an owner, and you're a salesperson or you're a staff or an office manager, there are things here that are going to help you understand how the business works and what are some of the things that you could do to help the owners of the business improve the business for everybody. And it really needs to start with you, the owner. The only way that you could build a great business that provides for all of your people, your community, is by making sure that the business serves you first. It's kind of like when you get on an airplane and they run through the whole emergency thing and they say that when there's a loss of cabin pressure, the masks are going to fall down. What is the thing they tell you you have to do first? You have to put the mask on yourself first, because it doesn't do you any good to try and help somebody else if you're going to pass out in the process. And it's the same thing here with business. It's if you aren't getting everything out of the business that you should be getting, that you originally went into the business for, how are you going to help your team get what they want out of the business, what they need to get out of the business? This is not about being selfish and about, oh, I'm going to make a whole bunch of money and I don't care about anybody else. No. Most business owners aren't like that. This is about most business owners that I come in contact with, and I see you guys out in the field, is you are some of the hardest working people anywhere on the planet. And yet many of you, and many of you are, you care so much about the people that you work with, and you care so much about the community that you're in. And yet you don't make anywhere near the kind of money you should be making, you could be making. And so that's where this comes from. You have to be successful. You have to be wealthy. You have to experience freedoms in order for your business to be able to provide those things to the people around you. And so that's why this framework starts with you right in the middle. And the little heart, I use the little heart because that's your desire. What is your desire? Why did you start your business in the first place? Well, if you're like a lot of people, probably three big things that you wanted. And these are freedoms. So freedom of time, freedom to spend your time how you choose to spend your time, with the people that you choose to spend your time with. Money. You went into business because you felt that, hey, I could do better financially on my own than I could working for somebody else. And then the third piece of this is kind of a bigger piece. And I know a lot of you, this is important to a lot of you, and that's impact. What impact are we having in the world? And for some people, it's small. It's what can we do for our community? For some people, it's what can we do with our church? For some people, I have a client in Texas, Bill McGraw, who his business is, it's a thriving business. Bill figured out time and money long time. He became wealthy a long time ago. And he figured out the time thing, how he best uses his time. What he really wants now, more than anything else, is impact. And Bill is doing some incredible things, raising money and collecting food for food banks in his area. He's in the Houston area. And he had such a hunger to expand that we got together and he said, hey, Brian, if every contractor in the country, just a few of them, would take what we're doing in Houston and do them. And so we did a podcast episode together. He shared everything with me. And to me, lately, I mean, that's the one that's freshest in my mind, but that's impact. How do you have an impact in the world? And I think most of us as business owners, as entrepreneurs, feel that need to have an impact. By the way, my doing this with you guys is my version of impact, because quite frankly, look, the last 6 or 7 weeks, I've had to do a lot more work than I had done the previous 6 to 7 weeks. I mean, my business is at a point, blessed that we have an amazing team. They really don't need me that much. So my time has been freed up to really focus on, well, what is it that I want to do? 2 things. One is I want to figure out how to make more money. And 2, I want to figure out how to have an impact. And so that's where the wealthy contractor comes in, is that's my ability to have an impact on some of you. And all of this stuff, by the way, all the stuff that I'm going to share here with you comes from experience. It comes from not only my own experience, it comes from a lot of pain, but it also comes from my experience working with hundreds of contractors just like you. And many of them, dozens of them, multimillionaires, from scratch multimillionaires from this business, okay? And so again, this framework kind of works its way out. So again, it starts with you, then it goes to what are the freedoms that you really wanted? And then the next piece is, well, how are we going to make that happen? Now, one of the things that I'm a huge believer in is clarity, having clarity. And again, this is a really good time for you to get very clear about what it is that you want from your life. The business, so look at what I say here. Your business exists to fund your ideal lifestyle and give you the freedoms you need to live your best life. And so that just begs the question, are you clear about the outcomes you desire? Do you live with intention? Do you live proactively, or do you live reactively? Do you react to what's happening to you, or are you purposefully creating your life in front of you? So in my book, and this is secret number 1, by the way, in my book, which is getting, the wealthy contractor understands exactly what he or she wants. And so some questions to ask yourself here is, how much money specifically do you need to make so you can live your ideal lifestyle? How much total wealth do you want by the end of this year, by the end of 3 years, by the end of 10? If you had total control of your time, what would you do differently than you're doing today? The other question to ask yourself is, what are the types of people you would be hanging out with? Who would you be spending your time with? Are they the same people that you spend your time with today? And this could be, by the way, even your team, even your staff. Are those the type of people that you really want to be around every day? What are your goals outside of the business? And are you working towards them? This is where your purpose comes in, or your impact in the world comes in. How much time away from your business do you want to have to pursue your life's interests? And then what do you want for your family? And then do you want toys? Do you want stuff? There's nothing wrong with wanting a new car. There's nothing wrong with wanting a new house. There's nothing wrong with wanting a vacation house. There's nothing wrong. I mean, go down the list. There's nothing wrong with any of it. And so how do you make that happen? You make that happen from the business, okay? The business is what provides that for you. So when we look at this framework, when we look at this model, there are 3 things in your business that will get you to where you want to go. And that's people, process, and profit. People, process, and profit. There's actually a 4th P, but we're going to talk about that at the very end, okay? So these 3 fundamentals provide you, the owner, with leverage. These things are what will help you scale your business, grow your business. These are the things that provide you with multipliers, multipliers of time, multipliers of efficiency, multipliers of money. So this is like rocket fuel. Leverage is what gives you speed. Leverage is what helps you move forward. Leverage is also what helps you build a business that's going to serve your needs: time, money, impact. Okay? So the first thing we have to look at is people. And again, I'm giving you a framework here to think about, especially as we're going into this, what I'm calling the rebound. In fact, we've done a couple of webinars before this around these concepts. So you can always go back, and we've released them as podcast episodes. So you can go back and listen to this a little bit more expanded. Here, I'm just working our way to the money math. I want to give you the foundation first instead of just jumping into the money. So people is all about having the right people in the right seats working towards the same vision. Okay? And so what you want here is you want to be thinking about, who are we? And this is really where the whole culture thing comes in. Who are we as a company? What are our values as a company? What's important to us? What's our purpose? Where are we going? Is who we are and where we're going to attract A players? Because one of the things that you'll notice right here is that when it comes to people, A players, you don't want B players, you don't want C players, you want A players on your team. A players are what's going to help really propel your business forward. A players, by the way, are accountable for whatever results you have given them to achieve, right? And so are your people accountable for results? And so a really good question to ask yourself, and I call this the rebound question, is, do you have the right people in the right seats currently? Is there an opportunity for you to recruit new A players? And one of the most important things here when you're talking about people is alignment and commitment. Are they aligned with the vision of the company, which comes from you, the owner? Are they aligned with it? And are they committed to it? That's how you know. That's how you know. So if one of your values, like one of our core values, is service to our clients. Clients always, we never ever argue with a client, ever. It's one of our core values. And so if somebody comes into the organization and they, for whatever reason, argue with a client, guess what? They don't meet our core values. They are not aligned with our core values. They are not committed to our core values, right? And so one of two things has to happen. One, either they need to like quickly prove that, hey, no, you know what, I messed up and I am aligned with you guys, or they're gone. Right? So this is what you've got to be looking for in your business. The second piece here is process. Process is about creating reliable, consistent, and predictable results in your business. Process is important. Process is about creating standard operating procedures in the business. Process is about having scripting. Process is about having checklists to make sure that things are being done consistently over and over again the same way. And this applies to lead generation. This applies to converting leads into sales. This applies to installing jobs, getting paid, developing customers for life. These are systems, processes that you need to have in your business in order for you to be successful and to grow your business, to be more profitable, and for you as the owner to have free time. Process also helps your people understand exactly what needs to be done. Okay? Process is key to scaling, to growth. And so some of the questions you want to ask yourself here is, when you create a process, can we teach this process to the person that is supposed to run the process? Can we replicate this process over and over and over again? A great example of this is sales. You know, too many people in the roofing business, they do what I call bidding versus selling. They don't have a selling process, or they have a process, but it's not really selling. It's quoting a job and sending an email, or it's quoting a job and talking with people on the phone. That's not selling. And so selling is about having a step-by-step process that educates the consumer, that builds value, that answers some critical questions. Why our company? Why our product? And why right now? Okay. My friend John Anglis, who's on when I do the live workshops, who's with me, those are his 3 questions in the sales process. Why our company? Why our product? And why now? And he has a 10-step selling system, okay? And that selling system produces consistent results. And when you have consistent results and they are predictable, then you can start to make improvements, and you also now can start to really kind of grow and scale the business and get the business where you need it to be in order for it to fund your ideal lifestyle and help you live the life that you want to live. With process, another question you have to ask yourself is, can we measure the effectiveness, the efficacy of the process? Does the process, can we say, okay, for every 10, using sales as an example, because it's a fairly easy one, for every 10 leads we issue, we are going to close 3 of them at an average of $10,000, which gives us a average NSLI, net sale to lead issued, which we'll talk about in a minute, in money math, of $3,000, right? Can we rely on this process to deliver predictable results? So let's say that you want to take a vacation. You want to leave for 2 weeks, or you want to leave for a month. Will the systems, the processes that you've developed, will they continue to deliver predictable results, even while you're gone, even while you are not there? The whole idea, by the way, if you haven't guessed it yet, is this is a model for building a business that runs without you, okay? That's the ultimate goal, to build a business that runs. Now, this doesn't mean that, oh, now all of a sudden as the owner, you don't have anything to do. No, what this means is now you get to choose exactly what you want to do. There's your time freedom. What do you really want to do in the business? And then can we continuously tweak and improve the results of this process? Okay, so those are your core important things. So your question here, as we start the rebound, is have you reviewed your processes in your business? Have you made improvements as needed to your processes? Because look, the reality of it is we all have processes. Just, some aren't very good. Most are not written down. And so it's really not. I mean, we have a way of doing things, but if it's not written down with standard operating procedure, with checklists, with scripting, with training, then it's not really a process that you can count on, okay? And then the last piece here, and this is now when we start getting into the money math, is profit, okay? Now, profit, let's be very clear about the importance of profitability, because again, too many of you work way too hard for way too little, okay? I remember at the last workshop that we did, I spent a few minutes with somebody on the side, and they had a nice business in the market that we were in. And when he came up to me, and after we had these conversations of profit, he said to me, Brian, I did $3 million last year. It's like, okay, good. How much money did you make? He said, I made $81,000. I'm like, oh, what are you doing, dude? And we talked for a few minutes, and I think within that few minutes, he completely changed his mindset about profitability. Because to me, what matters is not what's up on the top. I don't care about the top number. I only care about the bottom number. What are you making? Okay? Long time ago, I stopped being impressed by top line numbers, okay? I'm much more impressed by bottom line numbers, because look, quite frankly, if you're doing $3 million and only making 80 grand, something is seriously wrong, because, so yeah, let's be clear about profit. Profit's fuel, okay? Profit is fuel. Without enough of it, you're not going to make enough money to market your services. You won't have enough money to hire great people. A players are great people. You got to pay them well, okay? Pay them well. All of your people in your organization should be paid more than the average. Everybody. In fact, I have a client, one of the largest roofing companies in Michigan. Great client, smart guy. And somebody asked him at my event, how do you determine what you're going to pay people? And he sees, I say, I see what the average is out in the marketplace, and I pay, I forgot what percentage he said, but I think he said he'll pay at least 10% more. Very smart. That's how you get A players, right? You won't be able to give your family the rewards they deserve without the right amount of profit, and you won't have the solid foundation you need to go for the next 10 years. Now, look, that was more relevant 2 months ago than even today, right? Because 2 months ago, my clients that got this right, like this guy that I was just talking about, he had to shut his business down for a month. But guess what? His cash position so strong that it was fine. It was okay. He could afford to do it. And this is a guy that's going to be in business for years and years and years to come because he's got that solid foundation. Okay. So again, profit is the fuel of a business. If you want a high performance business, then you need high performance fuel. And profit is not something, and this is something that I made the mistake of doing. Many business owners make this mistake, and if you're making it, you aren't the only one. I'm here to help you, change your mind about it. Profit is not something to add on at the end. It's something to plan for in the beginning. And so what a lot of companies do, or a lot of business owners, I shouldn't say company, it's the business owner, is that they wait until the end of the month to see if they made any money. No, you got to plan to make money. Plan to make money. Okay. And by the way, if you're not making the kind of money that you should be making, it's because you haven't made the decision that this is the money that we're going to make. You haven't made the decision. And I hate to simplify it that much because it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. You haven't made the decision. Okay? Because by the way, with decision comes commitment. You just aren't committed to it. And so again, I'm hoping to kind of reframe this for you. So the minimum acceptable pre-tax profit to me is 10%. 10% after all expenses, including you. Okay. So for every job, whatever job you do in your business, you need to be paid for that job. And profit is what's left over after everything is paid, including you. 10% to me is the minimum acceptable standard. The ideal, however, is 15 to 20%. 15 to 20%. Okay. So this is where we get into the money math. How do we understand the money math in these businesses? Because there are formulas and they're pretty straightforward. You just have to understand the formula. Now, before we get into the math, I got to give you the legal disclaimer. I am not an accountant. I am not offering you legal, tax, or financial services. You should consult with an attorney or an appropriate professional before making any decisions that may impact taxes or finances. Okay, that's my disclaimer for you, all right, about money math. So in your business, in the home improvement space, there are numbers you need to know. You need to know your material costs. You need to know your labor costs. Now, most of you know your material costs. This type of roof costs me this much money. Where sometimes you guys get a little fuzzy is with the labor cost, the true labor costs. Notice here I say fully loaded. Fully loaded means everything that goes along with that labor cost. That could be taxes, that could be benefits, that could be, health insurance, 401k, whatever expenses there are along with the labor needs to be lumped in with that. You need to understand what your gross margin is, or your gross profit. Typically, gross profit, not net, gross profit is the number after labor and material. Okay, I'm going to show you some examples here in a minute. You need to know your marketing costs. Now look, you're going to need to be spending some money on marketing. This year, competition's going to be aggressive, very aggressive. And what I know is this: if you can outspend your competition and still retain the right profit margins, you're going to outspend your competition for buying leads, you have a chance at winning. Cutting marketing or spending less money on marketing does not help you win this game. This is make no mistake, the richest people in this business, the wealthiest people in this business, understand that selling roofing is a sales and marketing business. You just happen to sell roofing. Sales and marketing. You have to approach this as a marketing business. So you have to understand your marketing costs. You have to understand your sales expense. How much does it cost you to go and sell jobs? And this is not only your salespeople, but what about sales management as well? Overhead, and then you have to understand net profit. Now, being in business today, and I say it over here, without a firm grasp on your financials is totally irresponsible. There's so many people I talk to, and I ask them some of these numbers, and they can't tell me. In fact, I had a conversation with a contractor a couple months ago that couldn't even tell me their numbers for last year. Like, how do you not know? Their number, they thought they did this number. The real number, after a whole bunch of digging of that, was actually like 30% less. Like, so you thought you did $4.3 million, but you really did 3.2. How the hell did you, how did you miss $1 million, right? And the number doesn't matter, by the way. I mean, it could be $1 million, it could be 100,000, it could be 20,000. You need to know your numbers by the penny, all right? So let's understand profitability. I'm going to just run through this real quick. Let's say you have $1 million in total revenue. Material cost is 300, labor and installation is 200. That leaves you with a gross profit of $500,000. From your gross profit, you pay for your sales, just typically 10%, up to 13% when you start bringing sales management in. Marketing expense, again, generally about 10%. Most of my clients are anywhere from 8% to 15%. In roofing, I have a few that are lower than 8%, but I would factor a minimum of 8 to 10% for marketing, especially now going forward. And then overhead of 200,000, and then that gives you net pre-tax profit of 10%, okay? And so one of the things that a lot of business owners get wrong, especially in this space, is when they're the salesperson and they're not paying out a sales commission, or they're not, paying themselves. They say that, oh, I made X amount. I made 200. In this example, we could say I made $200,000. Well, no, you didn't, because in a real business, you got to pay somebody to run the sales, because if you're going to run sales all day long, how are you ever going to get your time freedom? It's a full-time job, right? So you have to build a sales team, and the sales team can be 2 people plus you if you want it to be, okay? So net profit, again, I don't want to belabor this, but that's how you got to look at this. Now, one of the things that, again, we talked about profit model before. You have to pick a profit model and then design your business around it and then stick to it. This is where decision comes in and commitment comes in. So I've given you here the ideals, okay? So when it comes to an ideal profit of 15%, which, by the way, I have many clients that are between 18 and 24%, okay, in home improvements, right? So 15%. Now, one thing, and I'll focus over here for right now, is you can't get 115% out of 100%. So what happens is a lot of people think that, you know, there's only 100%, but this is like at the end, they hope that it's magically going to show up, that the profit's magically going to show up. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay, you have to plan for it in the beginning. There is only 100%. And so when you look at your profit model, a 15% profit model requires you, if you've got marketing at 12%, if you've got sales at 13%, and you've got your overhead at 20%, in order for you to make a 15% profit, you have to, your material and labor has to be 40% of the 100%. Now, I see way too many roofers that are flip-flopped on this. Their gross profit is not 60%, which is what it's supposed to be. It's actually like 30% or 35%. Guess what? It's almost impossible to scale your business and to make money at a 30-35% gross profit. You just can't do it. Now, here's what makes this all worse, is that people think that, well, if I just sell more, I'm going to make more money. The reality of that is, if you're not making money at $1 million, you're not going to be making money at 3, at 5, or 10. If your model is broken at $1 million, it's going to be broken at 3, it's going to be broken at 5, it'll be broken at 10. I see it all the time. Okay? And so one of the tools that we have is this tool, and it's basically a planning for profit tool. And so the way that this works is you put in your projected volume here, and then down the side here is the ideal number. So for, in this case, for 3.4 million, I think this is for 20%. Yeah, so let's just say for 20% net profit. Your ideal material number is 850, your ideal labor number is 408, and you just go down the list, okay? And then the second column there is your actual current profit model. And so you look at, well, what am I actually spending on material? What am I actually spending on labor? What am I actually spending on sales and marketing and on overhead? And then you just calculate the difference. And there's either going to be a negative or a positive. So in this case, you're $326,600 off the target. Here, you're $215,950 off the target. Remember when I said there's only 100%, there's not 115% and 100%, there's only 100%, right? And so when you run those numbers all the way through, you'll see that the net profit on that 3.4 million supposed to be on a 20% plan is 680,000. Your actual is 155. So what's the cost? What is it costing you to have a broken model? It's costing you $524,000, right? So when you understand the math, you know exactly where you need to get to work. So here, it's obvious that we aren't charging enough. How do I know that? I don't right away, because our material and labor cost is supposed to be $1,250,000, and it's actually $1,008,000. Okay, and so that's where you get the difference of $540,000. You see how that works? Now, some of you are looking at that, and that's a separate conversation. Now, some of you are looking at that, and you're saying, well, God, I can't get those numbers. Well, that's the story you tell yourself. I know people that are getting these numbers all day, every day. Okay? So this is something I wish I had heard 15, 20 years ago. Revenue for Vanity profit for sanity. This is why I say I don't care how much revenue you do. I want to know how much money you made. Okay. Talked with a guy at an event earlier this year. No, it wasn't this year. It was last year. It seems like it's been a year, hasn't this last 6 or 7 weeks seems like it's been a year. But I'm talking to this guy, and I knew him years ago when he was a $3 million company. He said the year before they had done $13 million. I'm like, wow, that's incredible growth. And I knew we had seen each other through the years, and I knew that he was really growing. And I asked him, I said, well, how much money did you make on that? And it was like 200,000 or 150,000, some ridiculously low number. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, so you moved $13 million. You took all that risk, all that liability, all those people, all those marketing dollars, risk, liability, piled on risk and liability to make $150,000. And you go around at events and you say, oh, look at me, I did $13 million. Big deal. You're broke. You just don't know it, right? You got a broken profit model. You know, if you're more about the vanity of it, you want to go tell people, oh, I did $3 million. And by the way, the number doesn't matter. 3 million, 13 million, 23 million, 50 million, that it doesn't matter. If it's broken, it's broken. Do you know how many $30 million companies there are out there that make no money? You'd be shocked. You'd be shocked. That's why I say, if your model is broken at $1 million, chances are really, really good, unless you do something dramatic, it's going to be broken at 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay? So some questions to ask yourself when it comes to your profitability. Do you have a defined model that you work to? Does your profit model deliver a minimum net profit of 10%? Are you vigilant about protecting your margins and your cash flow? Are you disciplined with your finances, both in the business and at home? Is your profit model sustainable? Meaning, does your business require debt or credit lines in order to make payroll? If it does, and to pay your vendors and all, if it does, it's not sustainable. And can you grow your business? Can you build your business without debt, only using cash flow? Okay, these are the important questions that you want to ask yourself. Okay, so I showed you the profit models. Okay, we talked about process. When we get those things right, and then you have people running those processes at the right levels of profitability, now we can start to look at things like profit optimization and income engineering. Okay, and again, once you understand how the math works, profit becomes relatively simple for you to fix, to manage. Now, all of this, everything that we've talked about, I'm going to go back all the way back to the beginning of this presentation. This is why I believe you got to be absolutely crystal clear about what it is that you want in your business. A clear vision of the results that you want is what brings about the resources to make it happen. You cannot allow your mind to be distracted, confused, or just running on autopilot, just running on default. It's not going to help you. So when we have reliable, consistent, and predictable results, then we can scale our business. So another set of numbers when it comes to money math that you have to understand are these 7. I call them the 7 home improvement profit multipliers. Now, small improvements in each of these areas make a huge difference on your results. So it starts here with number 1. You increase the number of inquiries or raw, you know, I don't like calling them leads yet, because to me, an inquiry is not necessarily a lead yet, but let's call it a lead, okay, to make it simple. But somebody that calls in, okay, that's number one. Just increase the number of phone calls you get into the business, or forms filled out on your website, or you know, in your face-to-face lead gen efforts. Number two is increase the number of appointments that come from those leads. Number three is increase the number of people that you actually get in front of and you do a demonstration for and you present the price to. Number four is just close more sales. Take your close rate from 30% to 33%. Number five is increase the job value. Increase the job value. So instead of your average being 8,000, how do you make your job average 9,000 or 10,000? Asset recovery is basically, what do you do with all the unsold leads? What are you doing with unsold leads? And then number seven, this is the area that we work in, G4 marketing, and that is increase the number of referrals and repeat business that come into your company. And so when you look at generating leads and converting leads into sales, these are the numbers that you have to know and understand. So again, the number of inquiries or raw leads that come in, the number of appointments that are created from those inquiries, the number of leads that you actually issue, you give to a salesperson so that they go run it. How many of those that you issued, that you gave to a salesperson, actually get run and we present a price to? How many of the ones that we present a price to, actually buy? What percentage of those cancel or get rejected because of financing? What's the average dollar value of each sale? Net sale to lead issue, or NSLI. This is basically what you do here. Is every time, this is the number, every time you give a lead to a salesperson or an appointment, how much money on average do they bring you back? And the way that you calculate, and this is a critical number in this business, the way you calculate that number is, okay, I've given Brian, the salesperson, I've given you 10 leads. I've issued 10 leads to you. Of those 10 leads, you sold 3 people, okay, 3 out of the 10, and the average on those 3 was $10,000. I'm keeping the math easy. So I gave you 10 leads, you brought back $30,000. And so the net sale to lead issued is $3,000. The sales divided by the number of leads. This number tells you a lot, and it's a number you need to understand, okay? Net sale to lead issued. By the way, every salesperson's number is going to be a little bit different, okay? Every salesperson's number is going to be a little bit different. And then lead cost by lead source. This is really important too, okay? Developing customers for life. You've got to know what your referral percentages are, what your repeat percentages are, what percentage of people, of your customers, are leaving you online reviews in the places that matter, like Google and Facebook, okay? So let's look at how powerful this is. And we're just about done here, but stick with me here for a few more minutes, because I'm going to show you just how powerful it is when you understand the math, and then you've got reliability within your processes and your systems, some of the things, the power that you have. So you've got inquiries, raw leads, let's call it 100. Your process right now converts about 70% of those into an actual appointment. So we take the 100 to 70. Of those 70, you actually demo make a sales presentation and give a price to 80% of the people. That gives you now 56. Of those 56, your conversion rate is 30%. So that's 17 sales. Your average sale is $10,000. And so that gives you, I did the math wrong, it's actually $170,000 in sales, okay? I can't believe it, I did the math wrong, I just realized that. $170,000, all right? So now let's look at the process again and say, well, what if we got a little bit better on converting those raw leads into appointments? And this is, by the way, this is done through scripting and training. Scripting and training on the phone when leads come in. Let's say we got a little bit better at our demo rate. So we went from 80% to 85%. So now instead of seeing 56 people and giving them the price, by changing just these two things, we've gone to 64 people. Let's say that we leave the sales conversion rate the same. However, what we do is we increase the average sale, whether we do it through offering financing, just raising prices. There's any number of ways that we can accomplish that. But now what we've got is instead of 17 sales at 10,000, well, now we have 19 sales at 11,000. So instead of $170,000 in sales, now we've got 209. And so again, I forgive me, I did the math wrong, but that's 39,000 times 12. That's a difference of $468,000. You know what? I'm going to change this. Can't believe I did that wrong. Okay, $468,000. Okay, and this is just us understanding what our current system delivers, and then looking at that. And this is where, by the way, where profit optimization comes in, because now how much more efficient are you? How much more effective and profitable are your marketing dollars? Because look, we brought in the same number of leads. We just converted a few more at a higher price, okay? $468,000 difference. This is how you double and triple profitability. And this is not only about selling more. This is about having the right model, because even if we lost a few sales, okay, let's say that our sell rate on this was, say, something like 28%. So 64 times 0.28 is 18. Okay, or let's say it's 26%. Okay, it goes down, and we sell the same number of jobs, 17. Okay, but 17 at 11, 17 times 11 is 187,000. So now it's an additional $17,000 a month. Multiply 17 times 12, that's $204,000 in additional revenue at the end of the year, which almost all of it, by the way, drops to the bottom line, okay? So that's profit optimization. And then also there's income engineering. And so that is when you understand, okay, this is how much money I want to make, especially in a business like roofing. I mean, this is not hard to do. The hardest part about income engineering, by the way, the hardest part is getting you, the owner, to understand and commit to your number. And everybody's number is different, and the number does not matter. For some people, the number is 150. For some, it's 250. For some, it's 500. For some, it's a million. For some of my clients, it's 5 and 10 million. The number doesn't matter because it's your race. It's what do you need in order for you to live your best life. Once we understand what that number is, then we do some income engineering to figure out, okay, here's how many sales we need to make. Here's how many salespeople we need in order to make that happen. And here's how many leads we need to get in order to make that happen. And so now your focus becomes on that area of the model that requires the most input, okay? So this is a tool that we have within the Wealthy Contractor where we help, we have a education program called the Wealthy Contractor Blueprint, where we go over all of that stuff in great detail. So I told you at the beginning, and we're going to wrap up here, but I told you at the beginning that this is, there's a fourth P, and the fourth P is personal. You know, it's about having that clarity. It's about having focus and understanding of what it is that you want. And by the way, right now, because of what's gone on here, I think a lot of people are adjusting their thinking on this. And I just would caution you to be careful of the adjustments that you make and the stories that you're telling yourself about what's going on out there. It's okay if you say, hey, I'm going to plan on scaling my business down a little bit in order for me to protect my profitability. That's okay. What's not okay is being in desperation mode and saying, oh my God, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? No, it's, you've got to use the money math now more than ever. If you feel that you are going to sell less jobs this year, then guess what? In order for you to protect your profit, you need to raise your prices, which, by the way, I think is something that's going to come out of all of this. Is I think that the companies that are going to make it and that are going to come out of this strong are going to be raising prices and protecting their profitability. And look, raising prices is just about adding more value, okay? And we've done those, we have other webinars that we've done on the topic of price. But now is not a time to be lowering your prices. There's a lot of people out there that are desperate, lowering their prices to get the jobs. And what they don't understand is that when you're lowering the price, you're probably going negative. And so you're paying people to do work in their house. And that's not a good model, not a sustainable model. So get very clear about what it is that you want, and then start to design your business around that. Okay, so that's where clarity and focus comes in, self-management, what's going on in your head, what thoughts are you allowing to seed in your head, what beliefs are you letting take root in your mind. This is about protecting confidence. Now is the time to protect your confidence. So some of the things for you to be thinking about are, who are you being as the owner? Are you a salesperson? Are you an installer? Are you a fireman? Or are you the owner of the business? What are you doing every day? Now, look, admittedly, right now, there's probably a lot more reactive stuff that's going on than ordinary, but you've got to start to flip that to proactive. You have to start thinking ahead, because if you're just running reactive, it doesn't give you the ability to focus on the money math, to focus on your people, on the process, and on your profit. And so you've got to spend more time working on your business rather than in your business. And one of the easiest ways for you to understand if you're working on your business is ask yourself, is what I'm doing right now, is this activity that I'm doing right now a multiplier? Does it give me leverage? Is it helping me get time, money, or freedom, or time, money, or impact? Okay. So again, a lot of this stuff is in the 7 Secrets book. If you go to thewealthycontractor.com, you can get a free copy of it there. I just ask you to pay $6.95 shipping and handling. But look at this time as an opportunity. Recommit yourself to being the best that you can be. Work on personal development. And, you know, look, you have a choice here. You're either going to emerge as a victor, as a winner, or you're going to emerge as a, you know, defeated. I'm going to put up a poll here. What we're doing is not strategy sessions, we're offering discovery calls. And basically what a discovery call, it's 10 minutes, no obligation. You get on with either Pete or Dustin. They'll ask you some questions about your business to determine whether or not we can help, whether it's through the Wealthy Contractor Blueprint or it's G4 marketing, where reviews, referrals, relationships, repeat business, how to use your past customers to create leads and sales and profitability. Just answer the poll there for me. Awesome, a third of you have done it. I'm just gonna leave this up for another minute or so. If everybody can go in there and answer it, that would be awesome. Just click on something there, and I will be quiet and wrap up here. Hey, no is okay, maybe is okay. This is absolutely no obligation. You know, we don't even know if we have anything for you until we get on a call with you. And so one of the best things that we can do right now is say, hey, let's get on the phone for 10 minutes. Let's learn a little bit about your business, and let's see if there's a way that we can help you. You know, if we can't, we have a lot of resources. We can send you to people that might be able to help you in your business. So about half of you have done it. There's some more of you. Just hit it for me, and we'll close up here. 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right. So does anybody have any questions for me? Anybody have any questions? Let me go into the chat. Let me see if anybody's put any questions. Questions. Now is your time. Now is your time. No questions? Did I do a bad job? Scale of 1 to 5. Yes, I know Google stopped reviews. Yep, temporary. It's temporary. Scale of 1 to 5. Maybe I should do this as a poll. 5 is, man, this was really worth my time. 1 was, this was a total waste of my time. How would you guys rate this training? I'm assuming a lot of 8. I said 1 to 5, but okay, I'll take an 8. I'll take a 10, a 4. Okay, great. What would have to have happened in order for this to be a 5? What would it have to have been to be a 5? Now I'm getting 5s. I'm curious. I always want to know what we could do better. What are the things that you guys are looking for to help you with your business currently today? So okay. I don't know when reviews will come back. My guess is it's going to have to do with restaurants opening back up again, because restaurants are probably the #1. Well, restaurants and hotels are probably #1 when it comes to, you know, reviews. Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. Will reviews left disappear? You know, that's a good question. We've been asking ourselves the same question. It seems as though Google is accepting reviews. What they're not doing is publishing them. So I think what's going to happen is what they don't want, and the reason they stopped reviews, what they don't want is they don't want people going in there and doing virus messages And so that's why they stopped them. So I would imagine that the legitimate reviews are going to slowly start to find their way being posted when Google starts to open back up again with the reviews. That's my own personal belief, but it's Google. Who the hell knows? All right, everybody. So thanks for being here. Thank you, Jay and CertainTeed. I hope this was of value to all of you. And until next time, go check out the resources, all the resources that you have available for you. We are happy to help. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.